Hi, I'm Michael Boyajian, and I'm going to be talking about my new book, The Teachers of Ancient Greece and Rome. Basically, the Greeks and Romans were very advanced for their time in the area of education. The book is broken up into two parts. First, I go into the Greeks and then the Romans. The Greeks are mainly focused on Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Socrates being the first of the three. He taught Plato, and Plato taught Aristotle. Aristotle's best known for being the teacher of Alexander the Great. And he taught Alexander everything he needed to know to carry out his invasion of his conquest of the known world. Um, Plato established the first higher education institution in world history. Socrates didn't write anything down, and Plato uh, wrote down what he said into his dialogues. And sometimes it gets confusing on who's talking. Is it Plato or is it Socrates? Um, and Getting back to Aristotle, he established the education system that was used for centuries after the fall of Rome, whereas you had students being taught by age. And he broke it up into two areas. First, elementary, including middle school, and then the second part was high school, say. Uh, it wasn't until recently in the United States that it was broken up into three parts, which was elementary, middle school, and high school. And Aristotle also knew a broad area of education from zoology to astronomy to philosophy. Um, the Romans had a slightly different education system in that they were taught at home, and the middle class also were educated, but at school. In the Greek society, only wealthy Greeks could afford education, and they were taught at home. The Athenians were slightly different than the Spartans. Getting back to Greece, in that Athenian women could not be taught; they couldn't even weren't even allowed to go to the theater. But Spartan women had as much rights as the men, except they weren't warriors. Their schooling was conducted completely outside. The first half of the day was spent in weaponry, archery, athletics, things like that. And then the second part of the day was focused on music, philosophy, and poetry. And I drew up a lesson plan to show that education pattern. As for the Romans, they frowned on physical education. The Greeks liked physical education in that their citizens were soldiers. All the citizens were soldiers, or they were naval workers who rowed the boats. And But the Romans were different. They frowned on that, and they also frowned on music for some reason. But they were taught rhetoric, philosophy, and logic and things like that, and poetry. And the best teachers were the Greeks when it came to the Romans. The Romans conquered Greece, but Greek culture conquered the Romans. The most famous of the Roman teachers was Quintilian. He was way ahead of his time. He was in favor of preschool to K education. Many of the people we talked about were in favor of public funding of education. And Quintilian also said we must treat the kids nicely so they learn better. And he was in favor of giving them something sweet before the start of the class day, and also to get rid of corporal punishment. The Romans were very much into corporal punishment. It seemed to work, but it was, very cruel on the kids. And Quintilian wanted to do away with that. Anyhow, that's basically some of what was covered in the book, and I hope you look into it. It's available on Amazon, and the book is titled The Teachers of Ancient Greece and Rome. Thank you. Bye.